Let's see if the audio is finally working. So for some reason, my one stream says it's still trying to stream, but I looks like we're alive. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like we're live at least. So I'm just gonna keep on going. So today we have a deal, 5-bed, 3-bath in Hinesville. This is 659 Red Oak Lane, Hinesville, Georgia. Interest rate under 3%. That's a great interest rate. Now, what they're saying here is that subto deal, which means that you're taking over the existing loan subject to existing financing. So you would be taking over ownership, but the mortgage will remain in the seller's name. Now, first thing I'm going to do is just take a quick look at the property. If you look at it, it looks like it's just a cosmetic rehab for the most part. I don't really see any carpeting, so I might just assume that I just need to replace the flooring in just the bedrooms, maybe. Yeah, carpet in the bedrooms and just paint the entire place. But everything else looks pretty good. Even the kitchen looks pretty good. Now, I probably just want to do a quick Google Map drive-by. Just take a quick look at the street, see if that's available. Yeah. It doesn't even go in that deep, but it looks like a pretty suburban area. Okay, pretty decent area. All right, next thing we want to do is we want to look up the FMR. So this is in Liberty County. So we're going to Google HUD FMR, HUD FMR. Look up the FY 2024 Smart FMR. This is in Georgia, and this is in Liberty County. Boom. This is in zip code 3131. You can see that the 4-bedroom is 2020. Probably go up by 400. So I'm assuming it's probably go up by like another $400 ish, roughly. 246045. 5-bed. I'm just making this number up. So you probably have to like go a little bit deeper in, but I'm just going with the trend. Sometimes you see that the jump from a 3-bed to a 4-bed isn't that high, but you see that this is almost $430. So I'm just going to add $430, which makes it $2490. That's not necessarily the case, but that's all right. Next thing we want to do is get the market rents. Going to the market rents, we're going to affordablehousing.com, owner section, market rent estimator. The first thing I did was look up the rents for 4-bedroom properties in this area. And as you can see, the number I'll focus here is the number on the far right. 25 units within 1.75 mile radius. The average market rent is $19.23. Okay. How about for a 5-bedroom? Because this is supposedly a 5-bedroom property. It only went up by like $50. $60. So I'm going to use 1968 as my market rent right now for 23 units, because what's going to be most important is the rent reasonableness test. And if you've seen a few of the past analysis, we talked about a rent reasonableness test, which essentially states that you cannot charge more rent to a voucher holder simply because they are a voucher holder, right? So with that being said, even though the FMR might be 2460, they're going to go based off of the market rent and what's commonly being charged in the market. So you can't just charge more simply because they're voucher holders. So I'm going to underwrite using 1968 as my rent assumption here. So I might even just put up to $2,000 just to kind of keep it even. All right, so let's kind of plug in the numbers here. So this property was $319,000. Mortgage balance was $280,000. This is where I plugged in $319,000. And then this is where I plugged in $280,000. Entry fee, $39,000. That includes assignment, arrears, cash, or seller. So I'm going to assume it's $19,000. $29,000 of cash or seller and assignment, and I got another $10,000 for assignment fee. So that equals to $39,000. I got another 2.5% for closing costs. And for my rehab, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the square footage for this property. Let's see, what's the square footage for this property? 659 Red Oak Lane. This was 2640. 2640. I'm gonna assume only the bedrooms need some new flooring, so I'm gonna just 2640 divided by 3, only a third of the square footage. So that gives me some money, $500 to do the landscaping for the property. I got another $1,500 for a roof repair, just in case there's something that I do not see from the photos. Replace the toilet for one of them for $450 for a high pressure flush toilet. I'm assuming someone's living there, so the water heater does not get replaced. I got another $1,000 for some termite issues, just in case there's any pest issues. That gives me a total rehab of $22,000. Okay. All right. At $2,000, Let's plug in the rest of our numbers. Let me see, put this all the way to the side so you guys can kind of see what everything that's going on. Put this into Instagram. All right, the HOA fee, $300 per year. So I'm gonna do equals 300 divided by 12. That's how I got $25 a month. I got 10% for my maintenance. I got 10% for property management and 3% for vacancy. Now this PITI is $1,855. So even though I have my numbers plugged in right here at $280,000, 2.9%, I want to back into what I'm paying for existing property taxes and insurance by using the PITI number of $1,855 equals $1,855 minus the subto principal minus the interest rate. And that gives me the total property taxes and insurance that's outstanding for the current property. Now, I'm going to add in another $35 for insurance because typically you see that insurance for a investment property is going to be higher than a property where you might be residing in. So using $2,000 of the rent, this results in a negative negative 375 cash flow, and that equals to negative 6.5% cash on cash return, assuming the purchase was $319,000 and assuming a rehab was $22,000. Now, it's hard to mess around with this deal because it's already a creative finance deal. It was on market. Maybe we could have went through the different scenarios and say, hey, how do I turn this into a deal, right? But we don't have those scenarios in place for this property because it's already a creative deal and it's already locked up. And chances are a negative cash flow on property isn't going to yield you. But let's just say this person said, hey, long-term rentals are $2,500. All right, well, what if you did get this to $2,500? That would result in a cash flow of $10 a month. And this is a problem, right? If you think that you're going to cash flow on this property simply by taking the gross rent and you subtract the PITI to get the cash flow, that's not realistic, right? You have to remember that something breaks at every single home, and you will have to pay property management because what do we get into real estate for, right? A lot of folks get into for financial freedom of time, all those options. But if you just take the gross rent and you subtract the PITI, yeah, would you be a cash flow? But that's not realistic because everything will break eventually in your home. And don't forget about the $25 HOA. And you really want that time freedom. You can't be fielding calls on the weekend, every single weekend for a clogged toilet because then you never get to go away. I know because I'm self-managing our Airbnbs right now, right? That requires attention and time. So that's something that you have to budget for in case you ever want to depart that position so that you're not just buying yourself another job. All right. And then obviously you got to have vacancy expenses. Eventually someone moves out from your property, which means you have an empty month. So this money, almost about 23% in this scenario of your rent, does not belong to you because eventually a roof needs to get replaced, a water heater needs to get replaced, and it's not prudent to not include these expenses. So again, this was not investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments, but I really hope this was helpful for you guys to see how we go through a deal and learn that a lot of deals are not deals, right? This is the implied work of real estate investing. It involves you looking at a lot of deals, and most of the time, the deals are not deals. That is the reality. But the more times you can recognize something is not a deal, the better you will be once you find a deal yourself, because then you can tell yourself that you have looked at a lot of past properties in the past, and you can get yourself the confidence to know that you can spot a deal when the time comes. So hopefully you guys can just copy what I'm doing every single day, analyze the same property using the same spreadsheet. You can DM me on Instagram at investwithkenhe if you want to copy the spreadsheet. Just know that I got these spreadsheets from other folks, and I've been very fortunate and blessed to have been given them, and I just kind of take pieces of them and modified it and allowed it to be conforming to how I underwrite deals. So have an amazing Sunday, everybody. Spend some quality time with your friends and family today. This is day 120, and we're 1/3 through the year. So let's stay consistent. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep adding together, and I'll see you back here again tomorrow. Have an amazing day, everybody.